What is going on, guys? I'm here with another knife for you that I'm going to be reviewing. I can tell you that this is one beautiful knife, and I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. And it is the Reate Horizon D. So before we get started, I would encourage you guys to subscribe to my channel if you were interested in seeing my weekly content. Very nice, right? So yeah, the overall appearance, first time I saw it, I was just like kind of mind blown, and I instantly just appreciated the overall sleekness and just beauty of everything, how everything fits together. The blade shape, the handle shape, the ergos and everything, we're going to talk about it all. Really liking the small little milling lines in the carbon fiber scale here. Also the same milling lines in the titanium scale. We get very small milling lines on the clip with the Moku tie clip. It's not deep carry, but we all get the titanium Torx head screws. They all look to be the same size. I'm not sure. I think they're Torx head 8s. We got the beautiful titanium anodized back spacer, which I'm a fan. It's like a light blue. All the hardware is anodized to like a lightish blue, which I think looks sleek. And then the pivot screws, the pivot collars, has like a Moku tie anodizing on there. It's like a bronze. Get a close-up view of that clip and that back spacer. The clip is tip-up carry. Like I said, not a deep carry pocket clip, but it does slide in and out of the pocket pretty easily. Blade shape is like a drop point, I would say. The satin finish. Yeah, also we do have the lanyard hole here. Some people prefer the lanyard bar in the back, but to me personally, I don't mind either way. I personally actually like the lanyard hole, so that way you can have a full back spacer here. But I guess I've seen knives that they have the full back spacer and they still do incorporate the lanyard bar, which it's possible, or like a hole that goes here and it comes out here or something. But so yeah, the flipper tab has the jimping on the top there and on the side, and the blade just flies open when using that. You can also use the thumb on the flipper tab, which doesn't work that well, but you can still do it if you want to. But my favorite method of deployment is the Spidey flick, and as you can see, they got this long fuller all the way down, almost all the way down the spine of the blade there. It's not very sharp, but it's just sharp enough to catch your finger on it. And sometimes I do fail it, but most of the time I can just launch it with the Spidey flick. I guess, yeah. And when I first picked it up, I just thought you would use your middle finger up here, but which you can't really deploy it that way. You definitely have to get your finger all the way down here. I realized if I put my middle finger just right above this little divot on the lock bar there, then that's like the best spot for me to put my finger to just get it to launch out. The detent is kind of stiff, but not too stiff. The closing detent, it's not the smoothest, like it's not drop shut or anything, but it almost is. And when you're closing it, you can hear that noise. It just like suctions back in. it's a satisfying noise. There's no blade play in the closed position. There's no blade play in the open position. And I have taken it apart and added a bit of oil, and I did tune the pivot screw to where the action is exactly to the point where it's tight enough to where there's no blade play, but yeah, loose enough so it's almost drop shutty. So just the very perfect spot, basically. So yeah, the blade is on ball bearings, I'm pretty sure. The ergonomic factor is pretty great, I would say. The clip you don't really notice in your palm when grabbing it. Got the jimping on the spine there. You can choke up for precise cutting. There's got a sharpening choil. There's no finger choil. I mean, you can kind of put the tip of your finger there, I guess, if you want to. The blade length is exactly 4 inches. The blade thickness is 2/16 of an inch, which is kind of thick, but it does come down to a nice thin blade, to a nice thin edge. And the overall length is 8.75 inches. The handle length is 4.75 inches, and the weight is 5 ounces. So it feels lightweight, but I guess it's not that lightweight, because 5 ounces is, it's not crazy, but it's kind of heavy to some people. Personally, I don't mind. I don't notice while carrying this with like jeans, but if you're carrying it with like gym shorts or something, you'll probably notice it. And back to the pocket clip, I do kind of like that it's not a deep carry pocket clip. I guess that's the whole point, just because so it can kind of just stick out of your pocket a little bit. You can see the clip and all of its beauty. Here, I can show you guys what it looks like actually in my pocket. Why not? See, this is how it looks in my pocket. Goes in pretty easily with just one hand. As you can see, the top of the blades does stick out quite a bit, but I don't mind personally. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the blade steel. Reate used M390 on this knife, and I am a fan of M390. M390 is often compared to 20CV and also CTS 204P because they are all basically the exact same performance-wise. Like, the differences are so small, like, pretty much you can't notice them, interestingly enough. But yeah, the M390, just like a lot of different steels, has its advantages and disadvantages. So yeah, basically the advantages are incredible edge retention, can be sharpened to a more fine edge than other steels, and because of the large amounts of chrome, M390 is a stainless steel. Yeah, the edge retention is pretty amazing. Like, it will just last longer than pretty much any other steel. Same with 20CV from my experience. I've never owned a knife in CTS 204P, but apparently they're all very, very similar chemically. But yeah, and then the disadvantages, which there is a few. M390 is basically a premium steel, and it is kind of relatively expensive. It can be, I guess it depends on where you get it from, but in most cases it's going to be more expensive if you get the same knife with a different steel, if that's even an option. Some cases it is, but and then it does take time to sharpen. Best to use a variety of diamond stones and ceramic options for sharpening. Personally, I use the Worksharp Precision Adjust, and I have sharpened M390 before. I've sharpened a Tucson knife with M390. And then also, I must mention that M390 isn't very tough generally speaking, and it can become brittle if not heat treated properly. For example, Tucson, an amazing knife company, has had issues with their M390 on some of their older models, like their M390 would chip more easily than it should. But from my understanding, I think they have solved that issue for the most part, because I have a few of their newer models with solid M390, which I have one sitting right here actually. It's the Tucson 303 button lock, and this model has been known to have really good M390. But anyway, it is sometimes said that the type of steel is the body, but that the heat treatment determines the soul of the steel. And you know, to me, that kind of makes sense. Like, basically the heat treatment is a huge, it's a huge part of the process, and it is very important, more important than some people realize. And that alone, I think, explains why M390 is performing differently among different brands. Like, if I tested these two knives separately, I think they would maybe perform differently. One having better edge retention, one being slightly tougher than the other, one probably being slightly harder than the other, just because they're different brands, made by different companies, probably heat treated in a slightly different way. But they're both good knives, good quality for sure. Alright guys, I actually have a video on this knife. It's a really cool blade, really smooth button lock action. Is like I said, the Tucson 303 model. I will put the link to that video in the description. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice evening. Peace.